All right, so right now I'd love to invite Chantal to make her way up to the podium, and I am going to introduce her to you. Chantal Fraser acts as a thought partner to help people learn how to find and create their ideal job. She also helps employers learn how to create more ideal workplaces, and IDEAL stands for inclusive, diverse, equitable, and accessible learning. Chantal offers a variety of services, including delivering accessible online career programs, providing business growth coaching through Perro Center for Women's Enterprise, and delivering Indigenous inclusion sessions to Canadian employers from coast to coast to coast, with strategic partners including folks like the Indigenous Link. Chantal is Métis and a military veteran. As a retired lieutenant colonel, Chantal holds an MBA from the Royal Military College of Canada and is a recipient of the Human Resources Professional Association Honorary Life Award. How can you get the Honorary Life Award when you're like not even 30 yet, Chantal? I'm not sure. We're so grateful to have you here, and can't wait to get into this. Welcome.
I want to talk about what an ideal employer is. I want to give a quick case study based on my own lived experience. I'd like to talk about a tactic you can use to find your ideal employer, and I'd like to talk about a strategy you can use to find your ideal employer. I'm also going to explain the difference between tactic and strategy so you know what I mean. And then after that, I'm going to share a whole whack of resources. First, I'd like to start with what is an ideal employer? Now, this is Chantal Fraser's definition. Your definition might be different, and that's okay. My definition is an employer who pays a good and equal wage, an employer who provides you the resources you need to do your job, someone who also provides a support network. So we all have gifts. We have things we're good at, and we have things that we're not so great at. With an ideal employer, you've got somebody to help you with those things you're not great at. And last but not least, that ideal employer is somebody that you enjoy working with, all right? If you're going to go to work and have fun, then it's going to be a lot more pleasant and something you're going to be more willing to do. Now, the quick case study includes some pictures of me because it's a little bit of a vanity moment. I joined the military when I was 18 years old. Now, I'm a little bit special. It took me 6 years to get through a 5-year military college program, but I made it. So the first picture is me in my graduation outfit. A friend offered to do my makeup. It's one of half a dozen times I've worn makeup in my life. I didn't recognize my pictures when I went to look at the proofs. I started in the military. That was my career. Just the middle picture is a picture of me just before I retired. And it's at about that time that I attended a BPW Canada convention. So all of BPW Canada members were invited to get together in 2012, and I was invited as a guest speaker. And when I was invited, the recruiter who asked me to attend said, "Chantal, there's this organization called the Canadian Federation of Business and Professional Women. Have you ever heard of them?" I said, "Yeah, I've been a member since 2007, thanks, I know who we are." And they said, "They want you to talk about how far women have come in the last 50 years in the military." So I did, had a great time. The speaker after me was a woman talking about the women's empowerment principles. And that's when I learned, 28 years into my career, that women weren't paid the same as men. It came as a complete shock to me, because when I was in the military, I always knew what I was going to be paid, and I knew it was identical to everybody else regardless of gender. The third picture on the slide that talks about my military journey is it shows my back, and it shows me wearing my Aboriginal Veterans Autochthone vest, because I'm a Métis veteran and I belong to AVA. And so that sort of gave you my whole military career. Now, I know that not everybody in this room is interested in joining the military. I get it. I also know that there are people joining as late as 56 years old and still having a short military career, because you can serve till you're 60 now. What I want to give as a shout out for the military is there is always equal pay. And back when I was in military college, they used to tease me and say I got paid more than the guys because I got an extra bit of money to pay for things like nylons and brasiers, right? The guys didn't get that, the women did. We also had phenomenal and still have phenomenal maternity and parental leaves, receiving 93% of our wages while we're on MATA and PATA leave. So that's something that you get with the federal government. So you're in a male-dominated organization and you're getting cash to stay home to bond with your child. And the fathers have the opportunity to take that with parental leave when they do that. So now I want to go to what's the difference between a tactic and a strategy before I explain a tactic and a strategy. So a tactic is when you implement the skills and resources you already have available to make something happen. A strategy is when you have a plan of action designed to achieve a long-term or overall aim. And you're all looking at me like, what did you just say? So I'm going to put this in terms that you'll be able to understand. And my example is inspired by Michelle from Ace Nutrition. Okay, Michelle does a great job teaching people how to change their lives so that they're eating healthy. It's not a diet thing, it's about healthy eating. Healthy eating is a strategy. You want to have a healthy lifestyle, so you want to eat in a healthy way. A tactic towards healthy eating could be when you bring home your groceries every week or whenever you do your groceries, you prepare all the vegetables so that they're in bite-sized pieces and ready for you to just grab and eat as you go through the week. Tactic, relatively straightforward, simple, something you can do. Strategy, that's your long overall aim. Now, a tactic for finding your ideal employer, and it's a bit of play on words. When I use ideal with small letters, I mean your perfect, your ideal world, right? When I use ideal in all capital letters, that's when I mean inclusive, diverse, equitable, accessible learning workplace, right? But it's fun. Carrie taught me that you should use acronyms whenever possible. All right, so your tactic for finding your ideal employer. Most people tend to go and apply to any job posting they see that remotely looks like something they'd be interested in. What I recommend as a tactic is figure out who your ideal employer is. So you've heard people who are in marketing say, who's your ideal client? Well, who's your ideal employer? Who do you want to work with? What values do they have? What's their industry? Where are they located? What are their hours of work? Do they have any flexible work arrangements? What's the salary that they offer? All the things that are important to you that you want at your employer, figure that out, and then go find them and apply for the jobs they're posting. Canada's top diversity employers, it's a great resource. As mentioned during my introduction, I do Indigenous inclusion sessions for a company named Indigenous Link. I suggest solutions and tactics and strategies that employers can use from coast to coast to coast. One of the most inclusive companies I've ever taught to, and I've been doing this since 2015, is called Bison Transport. You wouldn't think a truck company would be inclusive. That's not the stereotype we have in our heads, right? Bison is an award-winning organization. So really, figure out what you want and then go research them. Now, here's my strategy and my outlook on life. I believe that all of us have gifts. All of us have things that we're innately good at doing, and if we can find jobs with our ideal employers doing what we're good at and what we enjoy doing, then that helps us find our ideal jobs. Now, sometimes it's difficult to find the employer who's going to recognize you for your gifts and compensate you adequately, right? In that case, a strategy you may choose to pick is to create your own ideal job by becoming an entrepreneur. Some of you might say, oh boy, that's a big thing to just go from working for somebody to creating your own company. Well, there's no worries. There are lots of people that can help you do that. There are organizations, you could hire somebody like me, or you could go to all the free resources like the We Can Project at Queen's, or the Perro Center for Women's Enterprise, and on and on. And in the handout that you'll get after, there's one list of resources that's available for entrepreneurs and potential entrepreneurs of all genders. And then there's another list that's specifically for women and non-binary people. So, after that, the last thing that I want to say, my closing remarks are, thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here. I'd love to chat with you. And in the handout, you'll see how to get a hold of me. I also have a free course that I offer to anybody. It's called Networking, Identifying, and Connecting with Friendly Forces. friendly forces being the people that will help you on your journey. Thank you.